The What's Neat This Week podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Check them out. Their website is ohrtracksupply.com. Thank you very much, Jeff Otto, for your support.
Okay.
We got a good group tonight. We got Chris tonight. I'm ready to
Cussing
stir up
tonight.
some trouble. Yeah, no cussing tonight. Function button.
They roll if you put them that way.
All right, somebody count down.
All right, everybody up here. 3, 2.
This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, number 18, November 25th, 2017. I'm Ken Patterson, and tonight I've got with me Michael Buddy, Daniel Coombs, Chris Palomaris, Dirk Reynolds behind the camera, and Jeff Meyer reading a magazine. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm, first of all, going to put my brain in park and hand it over to Chris. I'm glad to have him with us this evening.
You're not putting it in park because you're the host.
We're probably going to go 30 minutes tonight, and we're not doing a podcast next week. It's our week off where I can put together January's video. But, yeah, what's going on, Chris? I'm glad to have you here tonight. You've got some pretty neat-looking locomotive you brought with you this evening.
Yeah, actually, I was on a kind of a live feed with Train World on Wednesday right before Thanksgiving, and he wanted to get an up-close and personal with it. So we were test running it. And,
No, that was nice.
on
We got to
Facebook.
see you and George.
Yep.
And the gentleman that owns Train World,
Yeah, Ken Bianco.
Ken Bianco.
Oh, wasn't that the son?
Yeah, junior.
Really,
They're
really.
senior and junior.
It was a nice broadcast.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a nice unit.
So you've got the 1943 with us here this evening. We shot it outdoors in some outdoor run-bys, some really nice photography this evening and some very low light. Chris had the sound system running really well, and he had another UP locomotive running with it, and some very beautiful weathered cars, as you can see in this footage here. These freight cars, one of them was weathered by Jeff Meyer, and the other one was weathered by...
Butch Eiler. And
Eiler.
shout out to Gary
Yeah.
Christensen. You're next.
So that was it was a real treat
Good
to
old
see that
Butch.
locomotive in sunlight tonight.
That is amazing.
There's a lot of pad printing on this model. There was a lot of masking. I mean,
Right.
if you look at the camo on there, it's just insane.
Gosh, yeah, there's probably a couple dozen different screens on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think total mass was about 50.
And you
You know.
said this has got LED lights in it.
Yes, it's going to be the pretty much the first of our models that we produced before that are going to
Put it out
be
here so you guys can see.
coming factory equipped with LED lighting.
And also Tsunami 2, which is a really good sound system, too.
Didn't you say it has special sound, some new features in the sound?
Yeah, there's some things that we've been working on with Soundtracks, and I think Soundtracks is actually starting to ship some of those decoders out onto the market right now. So look for those out over at your local hobby shop or your favorite internet presence. So
Cool cookies.
yeah. So back to you, Ken.
Okay, well, rock and roll. The reason we're not recording next week is because the December What's Neat just came out. In fact, Daniel said it came out about an hour ago. Joe Fugate should have the magazine up on Sunday so everybody can read it. But it's going to be Turbine Month for December. We listened to both the Loc Sound and the brand new Tsunami 2 turbine sound systems. And then Daniel gives us a demonstration of the new Wi-Fi system from Digitrax, along with how to download the app and the
Yeah,
cell
Y-Throttle.
phone. Y-Throttle. We show a Christmas card being made for Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine, and we've also got our first drone footage starting for this year. We're going to run it in December from Stephen M. Conroy from out in California. He sent us this beautiful, beautiful footage that we're going to run for the December video. And plus, we also look at the ScaleTrains.com Tier 4 locomotive in the December video. So there's a lot to look at next week for our week off that we're not recording.
Yeah.
What have you been, so take it on, Mike. What have you been working on? I see you got some auto racks sitting here.
Yeah, these are the Athearn tri-levels. I've been waiting for these for a long time, and they're finally out now. These are really, really nice. Scale, and the cars that I have that I've tried fit in there, so that's not a problem. With
What
these.
year cars are you going to think you're going to put in these tri-levels? Or what
Well-
era were these in operation?
These started in about, well, these particular ones started about 1966, but they went all the way up into the early 90s with the side panels added onto them. So they're appropriate for any 70s, 80s, early 90s modeler.
Yeah.
So they are really nice. Yeah, I can see putting some screens on these, but these are just so beautiful. I'll leave them alone the way they are. I might even leave them empty because, I mean, the detail is just so nice on them.
Yeah.
And it's already done for you. No extra detail.
Right.
Now, these have just come out, right?
These kind of shipped out during the summer months, and they're limited stock online. We do have some stock left on the Mopac, the Northern Pacific. There's a SKU available on the Norfolk and Western, and then I'd say one SKU available for the SCL. So,
Wow. Well, I'll be getting more of those, that's for sure.
awesome.
Beautiful models.
Yes.
Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply is a sponsor for the What's Neat This Week podcast, and Jeff has informed me that he's been getting a lot of custom work. He'll custom build turnouts for you. You contact him on his website at tracksupply.com, and Jeff will answer any of your questions about what it is for his custom work, so that you don't have to build your own turnouts. He'll actually build them for you. Pretty much botched
How
that
about
one,
that?
but that's live TV. Where are we going to go next, guys? Who wants to take the floor?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Last weekend I was hanging out with the Illini Model Railroad Club over in Champaign. I'm a little tongue twister right now, so forgive me. But they actually approached me over at Train Fest, and I believe it was Bill Kluge and Lee came up to me, and they kind of gave me the latest scoop on those guys. And this is a group that's about 20 to, I'd say, 23, so a younger demographic, and they've been working on a layout that they've had in this one particular space since the 1976. So 41 years at this location, and they are now being moved out of their location.
Oh, man.
And that was on campus on the University of Illinois in Champaign. They actually show up, I believe, on page 19 on the November issue of Rail Model Craftsman right here. I'm also going to drop the Facebook link to their Facebook, so you guys can go out and leave them some support and just say, hey, we're thinking about you, and we want to support. I actually want to get 2 or 3 of those guys out here to join us on a podcast. I think it'd be great to get some more interaction.
So what's going to happen with the layout? Is it just being dismantled? Or
It's
are they
being
gonna try and set it up?
dismantled.
Wow.
It's being dismantled. They're kind of in transition. I think they're working with I guess the faculty, or
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the
The
logistics.
people in
behind it.
charge.
Yeah, the people at charge over
Yeah.
at the campus, and
Yeah.
they're looking for a new space. So shout out to those guys. Just want to say, we're going to try to support you however we can, and maybe the show can shake up some awareness and maybe some additional opportunity
Yeah.
for them. Yeah, we definitely want to see them continue.
And it's
on.
tough anytime you get the layout see it being torn down.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Bummer, man. So Daniel Coombs' mother brought us dinner again tonight. That's 2 Saturday nights in a row, and tonight it was brats. And these weren't brats from the grocery store. This was like from the butcher shop. Pretty good stuff. Now, I don't know what you did to get us, but you were at a train show today. You want to tell us about that? What show was in town, Daniel?
Oh, well, Collinsville, Illinois, at the Gateway Center, the Great Train Expo,
Okay.
Train show.
train show. And I was
Now that's Randy Bachman's group, isn't it?
yeah, should be.
That's
Yeah, he's
that's a
managing
nice
the
show.
show.
Yeah.
Alright.
A lot of
Well-
people turn out there today.
Yes, because I was actually doing my first year at a train show, vending with Dirk and Larry Horn. And, once 10 a.m. hit, I'm like, okay, here we go. And you know what? It was a pretty good show. And here I got some pan shots that we can drop in.
They already saw 'em.
And, yeah, I did buy a few things, and selling some of my stuff and then realizing, okay, I got this much money and I couldn't help myself. So I bought a couple of Athearn cars and a custom-made scrap load from, LBF.
The freight cars LBF and the scrap load was a really nice scrap load that this guy did for this particular gondola.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, all in all, it was very. I mean, something I've never done before, but you know what, doing it, and again, I got to do it tomorrow on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. But like, I'm gonna be disappointed when it's time to tear down, you know, because it's like I just had so much fun, and it was my first train show, and I never wanted to end.
Well, enjoy the show tomorrow while I'm editing this podcast.
Yeah.
The Franklin and South Manchester Railroad is featured in this December's Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine as a feature cover story, and also if you check out Trainmasters TV, if you're a subscriber to that, you'll be able to watch a video on that. And this doesn't just cover the layout the way we're always used to seeing it, but what they do is they go over and cover only the new, really cool things that George has added recently to the layout. So it should be a really neat story. Now, last week we talked about the Esu Wi-Fi Throttle, the handheld that they've got, and Matt Herman has informed me that he is going to send us one so that in a future show in a few weeks we can demo it and kind of give it the run through and see what it's like to work with. And that's a pretty neat thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Now, I was at Walmart this week and I know this is crazy, I picked up this is already made, already built, this is like metal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a
That's
cute
metal.
little tower. I found a place on the layout to put it just to add a little
For $8,
smile
right?
to the. Well, just for fun, you know. If this is where the serious modelers are already tuning me off.
Parallel
button,
parking.
Well, you know they're free rolling, right?
Yeah, right.
but Going down the list, I see that Stacy Naffa Walthers has informed me that the new Walthers catalog for 2018 is out. We've gone through this, and our friend, Mr. Quinn, has got a picture in here. Who am I thinking of? Jason?
Jason Quinn.
Has got a picture in the trackside photo area of the catalog. But this is a really nice book, really thick. They've divided it up again into H, L, N, and Z in all the different categories. And I can see they've got their GP35 on the cover, it looks like.
GP35.
So thank you for Walthers, but this is the gift book. This is the one thing that the internet can't do for you.
Right.
I can flip through this book faster than you can click your mouse. I mean, this is it. This is the book.
It's the Bible.
True.
Well, not really the Bible. The Bible of model.
What else have we got? I got one more thing
I
on
think
my
that's those
list.
Scale Trains container. Or
Yeah,
that.
scaletrains.com sent us some containers a few weeks ago, and it's taken me this long to actually get them out and play with them. And I put a battery in here, I think, and it's live TV. But see, it's got sound in it, so as your container train goes by now, you can hear the refrigerator.
That is cool.
Go by the microphone.
Yes, just woo! So this is neat. We've got them in N
The
scale. The
Doppler
N scale
effect.
ones don't have sound in them, but the HO scale one does, and it works on a battery. So it's kind of a neat trick.
Boy.
A little bit more enhancement. Now, we were going to talk about readers' questions somewhere in there, Dirk. Have you got some of those readers' questions?
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you,
sure
I know
do.
we're going to go for a full 30 minutes tonight.
Okay, we're going to start out with a shout out to Luke Cowen. I'm
Oh,
hoping
my
that's
God.
right.
Yeah.
Great show, you guys. What you're doing for the model railroad community is fantastic. I'll make sure I mention you in my next tutorial video and try and send some model enthusiasts your way. P.S. I can't wait to see what you have in store for February.
Yes.
February.
Yes. Let's talk about Luke Cowen. I clicked on his name after he left this comment because I was unaware as to who he was. But I'm telling you what, this guy makes some videos. Very good quality videos.
Yeah.
The other week I asked Chris Palomares to dial up something on the internet because I just wanted to see something that was equivalent to what we're doing for the What's Neat video that's at Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine. Something entertaining, visual, fast pace, good editing. And I'm not saying that's what we have, but that's what Luke Cowen's got. I mean, this guy's. You could add up all the videos we've ever done and all the views we've ever gotten, and Luke's got that on one of his videos.
Wow.
He's down in Australia. The guy creates magnificent work. I'm going to be watching some of your videos this week. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
watching our show. It's an honor
Yes,
to have
thank
you
you.
on board.
Actually,
sir.
for guys in Australia, it's up in Australia.
Up in
Oh,
Australia.
Up in Australia. Everybody else
Yeah.
is down under.
Right.
So
Very
shout out to
impressed.
you, Luke. You do some very nice videos, and
We'd love to have you on our side,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
our team. We'd love to work together with you.
Things are going and going.
I'll tell you what, you guys, he really shows up, what we're doing, and
His
we
editing
strive
quality.
to be as good as his videos.
Wow.
They're beautiful videos.
Clint Hick. H-L-E-C-K. I know I butchered that last name.
Luck.
Great show again, guys. Greetings from Alberta, Canada. A while back on the big show, you mentioned a website that you had photos available to put on mugs, buy prints. Would you be able to post that again? I'm having trouble searching it out.
Oh,
Thanks
this
in
is an
advance.
advertisement for me.
Oh,
Fine, fine art.
you get to walk into that one.
Did I circle that question? Thank you for asking that question. That's a good question. It's a fineartamerica.com website, and then you type in Ken Patterson as the artist, and you'll find about 72 photographs.
That many?
A lot. I've uploaded a
Oh,
lot.
man.
And you can have them printed on cups. You can have them framed in picture frames with various, or you can just order a print. Any size you want, and they're high quality, they're archival, they're not going to fade, so it's a pretty neat operation. I don't have to do any of the work. I don't go back in the shop and frame it myself. They do all of it out of Chicago and then ship it straight to your home. So yeah, please check it out. fineartamerica.com, I believe, is the website, and then type in my name, Ken Patterson. Thank you for asking that one.
All right, Beyond DCC. This is dealing with those number 5 turnouts from Microengineering, showing them up against number 6s. He's not quite sure about comparing these two. He's kind of looking at it like apples and oranges. Why don't you go into that? And I know you were looking at all these switches earlier, so what'd you come up with?
He's right. He's dead on. To sit there and compare, that's why I don't have the display here yet of the Microengineering switch system, their new ladder system. I haven't got it made yet because I'm not sure how I want to present it on the What's Neat show, and I want to present building that scene and then show it on the podcast as here's how it is. But what you just said is correct. If you take number 5s and you line them up next to the ladder switch over there, the ladder switch system's saving you about an inch. But that's not necessarily true because I use this number 5 to compare it to. This is the new number 5 they just come out with, and what's neat about this is the bottom end of it's curvable. It's flex
really?
track.
Wow.
So it's a little bit longer. So this number 5 might have the length of a number 6, but it adds the ability to curve this in and out of a situation that might be tight for you.
That's a great
Whereas
idea.
a number 5 is better to use than a number 4. But your point is absolutely correct. I went over there and I measured the difference, and if I did lay out a bunch of number 5s, I don't necessarily see a difference all that much
Yeah.
from their ladder system. So I'm going to go into how to present this in such a way that, you know, it is what it is. Here's how it works. And I actually want to finish off the diorama with some ballast and use it for a photo prop down the road, because after I get it all laid, I'd kind of like to use the switches for something.
I wish Dave Davis was here because he could kind of weigh in and we could talk about track again.
But yeah, you're right.
You know, I think that might be a good topic for the next time he's on.
Yeah.
Because there are such things as short number 6s and short number 8s on that and on the prototype too. So
Well, if you line up the number 6s I've got over there to make out the 6 or 7 tracks, which is the demonstration diorama, you save 17 inches, number 6s versus number 5s. But if you lay out these number 5s, and I laid one right on top of that over there a little while ago, the guy's right, man. Number 5s. But see, Microengineering doesn't make a number 5. It's not in their line. Shinhara does. You can buy a number 5 Shinhara. But Microengineering's never had a 5 in their line. So it's all new. It'll work. It's kind of cool. And we'll get down to the bottom of it and find out exactly what it does once I get this display board made.
you'll see it here first.
Absolutely.
How about this?
Nah, I don't want to look at that yet. We still got time to keep going.
Michael Loco 3752. Great show. Have a question. What's the best way to repower a Athearn blue box? Say a C944 or something.
An Athearn blue box.
Wouldn't you just
Do you
take
want to
the
know how I repower an Athearn blue box?
Yes.
Athearn ready to roll motor, right?
Yeah, nope.
Oh,
No. Well, I mean, that is one option. It
Okay.
depends
What do
which
you
way
do?
you want to go.
What do you do?
Well, I like using a Kato motor.
Okay.
And there's a gentleman on eBay, actually. I'll put that info. I'll give that info to Ken so he can put down a little word thing right here.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's a 3D printed bracket that holds a Kato motor as like a saddle onto a blue box frame. And you retrofit on some of the more modern Athearn parts, including a hex drive, universals, and you're off to races. It's a really slick system this guy has. He has switchers as well as standard just for Jeeps and the SDs and stuff like that.
Ken, you mentioned a Mishima motor.
Those are good too. If
Mishima's
you can still
out of
find
business,
them,
though.
If you can still find a
Oh,
Mishima
no.
motor, they're
Yeah,
good.
no, that's the thing that
Protopower
Athearn
brought
ran
them in.
into. We were using some Mishima motors, and they're out of business.
Right.
So
How about Mush Morton 99? Ken, could you possibly connect us up again with the exciting new tech of 3D printing, our own train parts and models? Your last show was 2014. Know your friend Buddy does the cars, but what of the train cars and locos? I recently saw a guy on the internet building sales of complete cars in N-scale. He's going to get a laser printer out in stainless steel of a real stainless passenger car. Also, we need to know where to get the electronic blueprints to make your own, or make our own.
Nope.
And the whole industry could be affected by the new 3D. What are your thoughts, Ken?
Let's go back to the first part of the question. I have
Okay.
reestablished my contacts with Dremel so that summer of 2018, when they introduced their new 3D cutter, their laser cutter, it's like 4 feet by 2 feet. It's a beautiful machine. We'll be able to feature that on the show.
Wow.
Plus, they've got a new 3D printer that's come out. So I've actually lost contact with Dremel for almost 2 years because of the various individuals that I work with were no longer at the company. But I've reestablished new contacts there this week after making a lot of phone calls, and I've finally gotten through to them where I think that we're going to have some cool products to feature on upcoming shows.
All right. Again, to our servicemen, we have Gerald Mayberry, or Marbury. Mabry.
Yeah.
Gerald Mabry met with a Kuwaiti model railroader yesterday for coffee. He runs mostly European stuff. Looking forward to visiting his layout next few weeks.
That's neat.
how cool!
Maybe
Yes.
you would want some pictures of the layout.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
we
Middle
would all
East.
love to see that.
Are you ready, man?
I want to see railroads around the world. That is so
Yeah.
cool. We've met some friends in Argentina through Facebook.
Yeah,
Right.
And they were really fun to socialize with. They did a picture of me working on my trestle where they were all standing over my back watching me work. They photoshopped an image. It was funny. It was neat. The folks from Argentina, there's a shout out to you. We love all the model railroaders around the world. I can't believe that this little podcast from right here at this wooden table is around the world. I mean, in the old days, you'd have to have a really high antenna. You know?
That's true. That is true. Okay, I'm going to try this. It's F. Cat Fracasso. Fracasso.
We need
Hi,
somebody
Kim
else
Group.
pronouncing these.
I'll tell you what. Here you go. All right. So, basically, what this is about is question for the group. Been watching your show and podcast. Doing waterfalls on your layout. Do you use the Woodland Cynics deep pour water or epoxy resins? Mod Podge. Most layouts suggest that, or a resin. I know I've done it before, but what did you do?
All those ways sound pretty good.
Yeah.
I just do the Woodland Scenics D-Pour because I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
When I was a kid, I used to use clear Scotch tape or packing tape and then run the resin down that.
Right.
Yeah.
Any form of capturing the material in mid-flight. Because what you're
Yeah.
going to do is after that's done, you don't just rely on that. Then you paint the highlights. Most of waterfalls is white because the water's evaporating off, obviously, into the air as it's
Yeah.
falling and it's
Right.
clouding off. So after you get your clear mechanism to hold everything in place, then you go about that by painting highlights on it or adding little cotton and different ways to formulate that drift of water. So really there's multiple ways to think of it, but you're on the right track with the clear material and the resin stripping down it.
I used Santa Claus beard and pulled the Envirotex through that.
Yeah.
And it clumped, but you got to be careful. It clumps too much and then it doesn't look good.
I hope so.
All right, Chris, this one's for you.
For me,
Yep. Nathan Klein. I have a question for Chris from Athearn next time he's on the show.
uh-oh.
Since Athearn acquired MDC Roundhouse, they acquired the MDC Roundhouse line of HON 3, 280s, and Shea locomotives. Are there plans to bring these locos back as retooled RTR versions with optional sound like was done with the standard gauge 280?
Here's the thing about the model die casting. We do have a bunch of tools that we haven't run in a really long time that we acquired from MDC. The problem is, a lot of those tools were developed with it in mind for a gentleman to be running them from his from his garage, pretty much, hanging the tool, hanging this other part, hanging it. And there was no sort of like,
Mass production.
yeah, it was not really meant for mass
Yeah.
production. So a lot of those we just need a plain retool, and some of them are just so old that there's no other way but to retool it. So with that being said, we're not saying no, but it's definitely a process. A lot of times, going back into some of these old products, it's just easier to come up with a new product, and it'll take as much work. It'll be as much investment on Athearn's part as well. So, not saying no to anybody. We're definitely entertaining some of those old tools, but at this point, it's going to be a kind of ad hoc and just depends sort of thing. But we'll take that suggestion and definitely look into it. Thank you.
And that'll do our questions this time.
All right.
Holy cow, we still got 4 minutes to go, and we got a 30-minute show. Anybody else want to take the floor? You got something else on your list? Have you talked tonight? I'm trying to keep track.
Actually, I had one thing to weigh in on. There was a question and answer from, I believe, last podcast, and one gentleman was asking about mounting tortoise switch machines in foam
the
board.
foam, yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that we've done quite a bit of in Fremo, is mount tortoise switch machine, and it's from the top down instead of from the bottom up like a typical plywood type layout.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, in Model Railroader, let me give you the year. It's September 1986. A gentleman went into depth about how to mount tortoise switch machines from the top down, and we also have I could put up like a P-base gallery that my friend Harry Wong, you know Harry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Harry.
He in the Northern California Fremo,
Yeah.
they did a nice documentary on a little photo album on that. So I'll post a link to that too.
I just thought of a last minute thing. We were talking about those microengineering turnouts. Don't wait for me to make the diorama. If you check out microengineering's website, and I don't know what it is, Google it to get to it, but they've got track templates of their new track system, the ladder system, where you can actually print them out full size and start laying them out on your layout as soon as you watch this podcast. So actually, yeah, rock and roll. That's there. I forgot about talking about that. Daniel, anything else tonight?
Well, I mean, I just said I'd gone to that train show for the first time, vending.
Okay, I can end the show with a segment that I've been trying to do for the last 3 weeks, and that's a Broadway limited photographic segment of some of the pictures that I've taken over the years of some of their models. And what got me started on this was I started taking a fancy to Pennsylvania paint scheme models when Challenger Imports came out with their beautiful brass models in the mid-90s. And they painted that orange on the rear of the tenders. That top decking was so beautiful, and they got the color, the Brunswick green color, just dead on the boilers, that I was immediately hooked on Pennsy brass, which is going to lead me into another quick story before I show you these photographs. And that's, where does the What's Neat This Week name come from that we named this show 6 years ago, the podcast and the main show? This comes from Phil Sheehan, one of the members of our old club of the Midwest Valley Modelers. God bless him. Phil was a great super friend to all of us, but it drove him crazy because when I started liking Pennsy brass, I used to like Santa Fe. And I was pretty set on my roads, but then I started getting rather diverse because I needed a multitude of models to have a variety of photographs to keep up my articles looking different all the time. And Phil would look at me and it would just frustrate him to no end. He's like, there's no rhyme or reason to what you buy anymore. You just buy What's Neat This Week. That's all you are. You're just What's Neat This Week, Ken. And that's where the name of the show comes from. So in case there's a trivia question out there and anybody cared about that, I just told you that story. But tonight, how about these beautiful T1 locomotives that Broadway Limited made? These were some real brutes, gorgeous models, and they made 2 different variations in this model in plastic. They also made a gorgeous Santa Fe 210-2, which was my pride. I really loved this locomotive. They ran well. Or the next one that I liked was their Broadway Limited M1 locomotive. That was a pretty hot engine. It was really big when you looked at it. Or how about the J1, this
Oh, that's
gorgeous
massive.
210-4 locomotive? I mean, this thing stood about 16 feet high. I mean, and Broadway Limited represented it quite well on these models. And my favorite engine, which was what those Challenger import engines were that I showed you a minute ago, is their Penske 210O, the old Decapod. These things were beautiful with the front-mounted boilers right in front, those big tanks. It was just
yeah.
a brute.
Yeah.
And these are just some of the Broadway Limited photographs that I've shot over the years of their engines. They're just really nice models.
Heck, we
Check
got
them out.
4 of them
They're right.
up there.
2 of those M1s back there, in fact, are still supposed to go through the Tsunami 2 decoder install. I wanted to do a video on that for What's Neat, and I've never gotten around to doing that. There's just a lot of things going on with the production of all these videos and all these different projects that we're doing that I want to say my time, all of our times, have been kind of busy. Days
Yeah.
are going very quickly around here.
Yep, we're getting ready for train show season. I mean, Train Fest kind of kicked it off, and now that there's also another show coming up for you guys. So
Cool, and that's our alarm to tell us that we are coming to the end of this one, podcast number 18, November 25th, 2017. I'm Ken Patterson. Dirk Reynolds behind the camera, Daniel Coombs over here, Mike Buddy, and I'm glad to have Chris Palomares in town today because we're getting a lot of work done. And so until 2 weeks, when we come back to you with another one, enjoy the What's Neat video over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine.
thanks, guys.
So long.
I like those long shadows, though. They look pretty good.